Konnichiwa and welcome to Japan. Japan is an island nation located in the Pacific Ocean just off the eastern coast of Asia. It is an archipelago containing over 6,852 islands, and its population is of over 126 million people. The flag of Japan is a white rectangle with a red disc in the middle, which represents its nickname of the land of the rising sun. Its largest and capital city is Tokyo. The two major religions in Japan are Shinto and Buddhism, and some of the major holidays that are celebrated are Showa Day, New Year's Day or Japanese New Year's, and Coming of Age Day. The climate in Japan is predominantly temperate, but it varies from the north to the south, so it really depends on where you're going. Basically, the overall average temperature can go to a low of 5 degrees Celsius in winter and a high of 25 degrees Celsius in summer. And there's also the rainy season, which basically goes from the beginning of June to mid-July. The most common natural hazards in Japan are cyclones, typhoons, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, tsunamis, and many others that have occurred throughout many years in Japan and have affected its development and its economy. So, what made Japan into the country that it is today? So, one of the major events in history that affected Japan is World War II. So, Japan participated in World War II through the attack of Pearl Harbor, and they also suffered greatly from the first nuclear attack in history, which were the atomic bombs that dropped in Nagasaki and in Hiroshima and killed thousands of people. So after this, Japan surrendered, and the occupation of Japan by the Allies began. And under this occupation, Japan changed greatly socially and politically. And so right here you can see that they surrendered, and then they had to sign this new constitution in 1947, which brought them more civil liberties. It brought them more labor rights, women's suffragette, and also under Article 9, which is right here, they renounced their right to go into war with any country. So this allowed them to focus on other aspects of their country, such as their economy and their technology. So as you can see here in these pictures, they are very technologically advanced. They're considered the most technologically advanced country in the world by many. Next is the language. The major language that is spoken in Japan is Japanese, and it is separated into different dialects, the Tokyo dialect being known as the Standard Japanese. Some of the major attractions in Japan are the Golden Pavilion, the Great Buddha of Kamakura, the Peace Memorial of Hiroshima, Tokyo Tower, and also Fuji Mountain. And so, what is Japan really known for? Japan is known for its contemporary pop culture and for traditional arts, also for its unique social customs and its sophisticated cuisine. So what do we know about Japan? What is mostly known around the world? Mainly anime and manga, cosplay, sumo, which is a sport that has been around for over 2,000 years, temples, which are some of the most beautiful places in the world. There's also origami, and there is also the cherry blossoms, which are very beautiful, and they're like the unofficial flower of Japan. There's also sushi, which is known all around the world, and there's also their sense of fashion, which a lot of people follow. They follow their trends. And lastly, there's also the bullet train, which is kind of like a network of high-speed railways that go all around Japan. Next is their business etiquette. So Japan is a very highly structured and traditional society. So when going there, you need to know that they value politeness and loyalty. Therefore, there are a bunch of business practices that you should follow. So upon meeting someone, it is very important to shake their hand. And when Japanese people shake hands, they limp a little and they do little eye contact. And sometimes they even bow instead. So as you can see, these two women over here, and they're shaking hands right there. Some Japanese people actually take the business card or give someone a business card before shaking their hand. And it's really important to see that your rank is written on the business card so that you know who your negotiating counterpart will be. Another very important thing is to be on time. So being punctual at business meetings is very important. Also, it is very important to nod when they're speaking, especially when they speak in English. It is very important for them to know that you're understanding what they say. Another thing is to follow the unofficial dress code, meaning that you should dress very conservative. So men should wear suits, and women should wear very conservative clothing. They shouldn't wear too much jewelry, and they shouldn't wear too high heels because they don't want to be towering the men. Now, things to avoid. So you should avoid spreading germs. You should avoid making very big gestures because you could distract your host, as Japanese people don't really make big gestures. Don't show too much affection, so avoid touching. Don't go to people and hug them. It's not seen as very polite or respectful. They like their own personal space. Lastly, I think that Japan and Canada could do business together because Canada is a very diverse and multicultural society, and we adapt to new cultures every day. And so, if a person were to go do business in Japan, I think they would have a really like easy time adapting to the other culture. So, even though they have these social customs and different practices than us, we would be able to adapt because we are known as a multicultural society, and we adapt to these things every day when we do business with different people. Thank you for listening.